What is going on, Lake Pro Tackle fam? We got a brand new product in the shop here. This is the Megabass IxI Blowly Crankbait. If you're not familiar with the IxI series, you need to check them out. They are by far one of my favorite ways to catch fish all times of the year. One of my favorites is the IxI Shad in the Type 3 as well as the TX. Both of those are going to be diving at different depth ranges, but they are going to be a very, very good shad profile. Now, this Blowly crankbait here is very similar to the IxI Furious, which we do not have readily available in the United States, but it uses the hydrodynamics technical water streaming patent on it. And what's really unique about it is that water is going to come in through the head of this bait and actually release through the gills, which creates an upward lift countering the downward pull from the bill. So it's really, really unique. So as it's running down, and this is something that a lot of crankbaits don't do, this bait here is actually going to stay in the strike zone a lot longer for you, as well as having just an overall extremely aggressive action as you're reeling it through the water at different speeds. Now, typical crankbaits, your square bills, your regular style crankbaits, when you throw them out there, they're going to hit the water, they're going to dive down, they're going to hit their strike zone, and then they're going to come up. So typically you're not getting a ton of time in that strike zone. What's unique about this bait here and what's cool about this, the water intake streaming, is that coming through the head and creating that upward lift countering the bill, you're actually going to throw it out there, it's going to get to depth, and it's going to stay at depth all the way to the boat because of that upward force and the downward pull created by the bill. It creates almost, I don't even know what the technical term is. It creates like almost a constant retrieve, essentially. As long as you're cranking it through there and you're not letting it just sit up and rise when you pause it, this crankbait here is going to be running and staying aggressive. Now, the overall build of this crankbait does remind me of the S-Crank, where it has a rounder body. This is going to be imitating something between like a Z crank as well as like an S crank. It's very, very aggressive. Your typical body that you see out of a square bill. It's gonna really, really rock. And what's cool about it as well is it also has this circuit board lip that is rounded off. So you're gonna see a lot of head wobble from side to side, and you're also gonna see a lot of rolling. So when you're running through shallow water and you want to cover wide ranges, this is going to be a crankbait you want to try for sure. We have 13 different colors of these. So we've got a ton of the shad patterns, like the Sexy Shad. We've got Kasumi Ito. We've got Secret Truffle, which is one of my favorites. It actually has the viper eyes on it. We've got GG Bass, Wild Craw, Blueback Chartreuse, Blackback Chartreuse, Baby Kinyo. So many different colors that you can try out. Of course, this bait here is going to be one of those baits that you have to have a little bit lighter line for. So typically anywhere from 8 to 12 pound is going to be my comfortable range. This bait here is 49 millimeters and weighs 3/8 of an ounce. So it's not a hard bait to throw. It is going to actually not have the weight transfer system in it, but the way this bait is designed, very compact, it will fly through the air very, very easily for you. I've got a couple of my favorite rods I like to throw it on. You know, sticking first off in the Megabass lineup, the X10 Rapid Viper. This is going to be an amazing rod. If you like a little bit shorter rod when you're cranking, especially shallow, you like making those small roll casts, even just regular overhead casts are going to be great on this rod as well. So Rapid Viper, if you're not familiar, it has a very, very soft tip section and actually just has a good standard bend all the way back into the blank. I would consider it a true medium rod in its class. Another great Megabass rod here is going to be in the P5 lineup. This one is going to be the Z Crank. This is one of my favorite cranking rods overall. It's a little bit heavier in power compared to this Rapid Viper here. It's going to be a little bit longer, but it's going to have that same good moderate cranking action that you really want in a rod. So it's going to bend all the way back into this last eyelet here. Going to be great for the Blowlies. Of course, it's a great S-Crank rod, the Z-Cranks, Z1, Z2, Z3s. Overall, this rod can handle most of the crankbaits in the Megabass lineup, especially those flap slaps as well. Sticking in the Megabass line for one more here, I've got a spinning rod. If you're someone that likes to throw crankbaits on spinning rods, let's say you've got really clear water, you like the feel of braid to leader, this is going to be one of my favorites here. This is the Landsat. This is going to be a 6'11", so yep, just kind of at that 7 foot. It's going to have that same good taper and action to it, and it actually is going to be the F3. So this is also going to be a great rod for throwing that Blowly, as well as many other crankbaits. And getting into a little bit of the Daiwa, this is by far one of my favorite cranking rods that's come out in recent years. This is the Daiwa Kage rod. This is the cranking rod, 7 foot MRB, so medium. And this is going to be just an overall great cranking rod for literally just about anything you want to throw on it. So kind of same action, similar to the Z-Crank in the P5 line here. So when it comes to reels, there's so many different reels you can do it on. Something like the Shimano, if you're balling on a budget, Shimano Corrado 70 is by far one of my favorites. Has the MGL spool. It's not the most recent MGL spool, but trust me, I can throw the Blowly on it. I can throw 1.0 crankbaits on it. I can throw even BFS Griffins on a Corrado 70. As long as you set it up correctly, 10-pound line is going to be my go-to. Another great reel, of course, the Metanium DC70. MGL spool, DC system. You can throw braid to leader if you want. I personally just recommend anywhere, again, from that 8 to 12-pound line. Here in Texas, bluegill spawn is about to really pop off here. It was delayed a little bit. So the brim color, even GG Bass, Gilco are going to be my go-tos. Wild Craw as well, still working just a little bit. But if you're looking at the Daiwa line, of course, Daiwa SVTW, lighter line on that one, as well as the new Daiwa Tatula SVTW 100. What a mouthful. That one always takes a little bit to get out, especially here in the shop talking about it. But the Tatula 100 SVTW as well as the Steez SVTW are going to be my biggest recommendations. You have a ton of line. You can get some ultra long casting on those. When it comes to the line, of course, 8 to 12-pound line. Mastiff, Abrazex, Sniper, Shooter, really doesn't matter. It's kind of whatever you're comfortable with. Again, lighter hooks on these, so I do replace mine out. I like to go smaller. If you've watched the channel for a while, you know I like smaller hooks. The BKK Hyper Latch 70 ULs. What's up with all these long names today? I don't know. I'm winded. Size 8s are going to be 100% my go-to. If you want a little bit thicker hook, you know you're fishing around some heavier cover, thicker cover, I would go with the Spear 71 size 8s as well. Now, when it comes to the float rate as well as kind of how deep you can get your crankbaits, this is kind of where the lines blur a little bit because this crankbait is so unique. It uses that water intake system on the top. Heavier hooks don't really affect how deep your bait goes. It really just kind of affects how it runs. Heavier hooks are going to dull out some of this side-to-side action from this bait here, but it is so aggressive already. At higher speeds, this is another thing I forgot to mention, higher speeds, this crankbait is going to wobble and really stay down and stay true because that water is always coming out of the head. At slower speeds, this bait is going to be a little more chaotic. It might have a little more of that square bill vibe where it's running, and it pops out, running, and pops out as you're retrieving it, even with those heavier hooks. So, y'all, I hope you enjoyed it. The IxI Blowly from Megabass is now available on the website. 13 different colors, y'all. I'm talking just colors on colors on colors. Did a ton of ordering on this one here. And this is going to be a very limited supply as well. Not many of these came in from Megabass USA here, but we are very excited to get these. So, y'all, I hope you enjoyed it. We'll see you in the next one. A bunch of cool stuff coming out. See you guys.